who is so flipping busy, he's turning customers away. I don't really even got a website. And that itself is really insightful and instructive.
Delete your websites, everybody.
No websites.
Get rid of them.
Waste of time. No one needs a website.
Welcome to Business Growth Central with the Bottrells.
The father and son's team who built dozens of seven-figure businesses
And generated over £100 million in sales.
And since 2010, we've run Entrepreneur Circle, the UK's largest organisation helping businesses to grow.
Every week, we're sharing practical tactics,
Swipeable strategies.
And powerful nuggets to help you to grow your business. This is Business Growth Central.
with the Bottrells.
Hey, welcome back to Business Growth Central.
Give us some warning.
No, as always, we're starting. We are running. We are hot. I'm feeling festive.
Oh, yes. Oh, Christmas time.
I'm Nigel Bottrell, founder of Entrepreneur Circle.
Cameron Bottrell, Managing Director here at Entrepreneur Circle.
And I'm Elliott Bottrell, the Chief Marketing Officer here at Entrepreneur Circle.
Ho, ho, ho.
I thought you were going to say you were choir master. Christmas carol.
Christmas time.
You do like a bit of Christmas, don't you?
Love a bit of Christmas, very festive person. I'm just so filled with joy. I think it just brings out the best in
Right.
me, you know? 'Tis a joyful season.
Yeah.
Joy to the world.
It's not in any way annoying, is it?
Well, it's taken up a lot of time. You know, one of my key roles as managing director is now making sure the office is suitably festive and putting up the decorations. People who've been to ECHQ will know our big Christmas tree.
Yes.
Big Christmas trees get very expensive very
Yes.
quickly. It's this, you know, you think every foot a tree grows. It's actually quite a lot more tree. Because they don't grow at the top, they grow at the bottom. So you think you're only adding this little bit of tree, but you're not. You're adding this bit of tree at the bottom. And so we looked for a tree that would actually fill the reception area.
Yes.
And it was going to be like 12 grand or something,
Okay.
which I deemed too much.
Can I just
Excessive.
compliment you on the wisdom of your decision?
Yeah.
And that, you know.
You know, I think we have a good Christmas budget for HQ, and I think that you've got to make decisions on what's worth it and what's not. But Christmas time, I think what's interesting, actually, whilst we're talking about Christmas, I'm interested in your takes on big Christmas adverts. Okay? As a marketing guy, okay, coming from the world of big marketing, MMC Saatchi days, all that stuff.
I actually remember when I was at university up in Leeds, we had the man responsible for the John Lewis Christmas ad come in and do a whole other presentation about it, which was kind of interesting. But I think Christmas advertising, especially the big Christmas TV ads, I think they can be a very powerful thing, because you have seen in recent years when companies get it right, it becomes their viral moment. Now, I'm not sure to what extent that directly ties through to sales, but getting millions of eyeballs on something that normally reinforces a pretty positive message, it's going to do a lot of good for the brand. It's going to form a lot of nice associations, and that's definitely going to trickle down into some good sales. And also, it's almost like in a lot of cases, you kind of have to do it. Because, like, for example, right now we're seeing our cost of advertising has gone through the roof, because it's currently Black Friday time and Christmas time. So everyone is advertising Black Friday and Christmas. And so sometimes if you're trying to stick with your regular business as usual messaging, but everyone else is screaming about this topical stuff, you can kind of be left out a little bit.
Well, tying into that, because first of all, the fact that people are still running Black Friday offers in December is madness, and is indicative of the problem with the holiday itself. But this year, the research shows us that it's about £12 billion big brands are spending on their Christmas adverts this year. And as a direct marketer, as someone who loves tracking the results of my marketing, it makes me wince, because there's no way they can track through the impact of the Sainsbury's Christmas advert on, you know, their spend and things like that. They have to say, this year at Christmas time, our sales went up or went down by this much, and we spent this many millions and millions of pounds on our Christmas advert. Are they connected? I don't really know. But I think that, you know, especially now that so many of these Christmas adverts, they don't even track, like, the core metric for the brand is now like the YouTube views of the big TV Christmas advert, which itself is so indicative of where things are moving. And actually, any business can do a YouTube advert now, and actually, you could do your own, like, John Lewis Christmas advert equivalent and push it out to your market using, like, the targeting on YouTube. You could have the same kind of percentage reach of your very niche area of the world, as like John Lewis was there. It's just an interesting little how the world is moving, isn't it?
Yeah, the fact that although we call them TV ads, in truth they're not really made for TV anymore. If you want to watch the the John Lewis ad this year or the Sainsbury's or whatever the big ones are, and literally no idea.
A lot of the Waitrose TV ads are saying, search this on YouTube to watch the ad.
That's the point. That's the one I'm going to.
Yeah.
And anyway, you actually watch the full story. The one I did enjoy, the Keira Knightley one with is that Waitrose?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, that was quite a fun one. But the only way you get to see the full ad is to actually watch it on social media. Yeah. So this whole notion about big TV ads is actually not true, because they're like big ads it is all about a big chunk of it now is about how the ads play on the socials. But the companies that are doing these, the big ad agencies, I mean, you've worked there. But we have to be very careful as business owners, because you're right, Cameron, what you say. We're spending, as business owners, we're spending our own money, and what we want is, and I'm not prepared just to indulge it on something that kind of makes me feel good, or like oh, fuck, what's the return? We've got to be. We haven't got. There's not enough cash in the world, especially after a bloody budget. We need to be mindful of getting a return, and in that regard, spending our money on marketing that is trackable and can be held accountable is way smarter than getting all artsy-fartsy and creative and hiring Keira Knightley and buying some cheese.
Well, there you go. But I mean, Christmas for me, really, more than anything, I think, is just a run-up to the next series of The Apprentice. That's really what gets me excited.
I do worry about you.
Don't you think?
No.
I enjoy it so. In fact, I was talking with the guys earlier. I think that there's potential scope. Let us know in the comments, guys. I think we should actually do a little mini sub-series where every week we review that week's episode of The Apprentice and pull out the actual business message in there. Because the problem with The Apprentice is that so many people think it's in any way indicative of running a business or doing business, but it's not. And so many of the things, the challenges that they do are like so fanciful. And actually, in real life, you'd have to contend with this, that, and the other. And actually, there's no way that strategy is a sensible move to do. Actually, I think it might be worth doing a little trial run of a few little. Watch this space.
We'll see.
Good.
We'll see. But we got a nice little break over Christmas, at least. Coming up with a bit of time off.
Yes, very much so. Important to switch off and have breaks. I think that. I'll tell you what I did see actually in the news. This is just to break the Christmas spirit. Not Christmas anymore. But it was relevant to both of you actually. So I thought it was better. I saw this thing that Revolut.
Yes.
The modern
challenger bank
and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. It's now worth more than Barclays.
I love that.
And obviously, as a former Barclays man.
Barclays is shit.
Wow. Gosh.
I did work for the Barclays for 20 years, and I've been a customer for 50 years nearly, and but they are shit. And honestly, I'm
there goes that sponsor.
I'm delighted that Revolut.
But isn't it in
a market cap
brand, a business, a bank like Barclays is like one of those enormous businesses that all of us, we can't even imagine ever having a business that size. It's this amorphous, humongous thing with humongous buildings and skyscrapers all over the world, and then Revolut.
That's true.
It was nothing a few years ago, and then was just this app and just that. It's much more relatable, and the fact that a more relatable business to us entrepreneurs is like worth more than these big behemoths.
Yeah,
I think is so interesting. It was like the message you sent us about Whisper Flip, you know, and how they've just been valued at like 80 something million.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's an app that like transcribes your voice and doesn't that just make you wince? It's like this little app is worth so much money. And then, you know, all of us working so hard on our businesses that probably aren't worth £85 million, stuff like that yet. But
is that your Christmas project then?
That's my Christmas project. Is I think we need an app. That's the key takeaway there. I think they might be catching on. But no, I just think it's interesting. You know, again, the way the world is moving on, scary times.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of fast-paced stuff happening.
Is there any business owners that need help this week?
Yeah, maybe. I think, it would be rude not to at least ask Elliott what his Christmas plans are this year.
Well, Christmas plans this year are going to be...
Hold that thought, Elliott. A business owner needs help. Dun, dun, dun. God. Can I do the scroll? I'll do the scroll again.
No, let Elliot do the scroll.
He's already got it.
No, come on, let Elliot do the scroll.
You know what? Merry Christmas.
Right.
Absolute.
Absolute,
Wrap it.
Probably is your present from your brother.
absolute pity scroll. Okay, we got a question from Mark, who runs a garden maintenance business.
Okay.
Mark says, I built a solid reputation over the years and I'm proud of the work I do, but recently it feels like every single inquiry is from someone trying to haggle me down. People compare me to the cheapest bloke they can find and expect me to match his prices. I'm not expensive, I just do the job properly. How do I start attracting customers who actually value quality instead of the people that just want the cheapest option? Pretty good question from Mark.
Therein lies a question that so many business owners have asked themselves is how can I stop dealing with people who are just obsessed about price? And I think you can kind of read there's some subtle undertones there in Mark's message where he
the
feels
resentment.
yes, the resentment towards him. What do you mean you don't appreciate my craftsmanship?
I'm doing the job properly.
And I think that's a perfectly valid feeling to have, and one that I'm sure a lot of people listening and watching resonate with. We have it, like when you explain all the fabulous things you do and someone is just like tunnel vision on price and, clearly not appreciating the work and effort that you're doing and the skills that are in there, and that is annoying, that is demoralizing. And I think that my key takeaway, not to jump in too quickly, but my key takeaway is that if you're finding a big proportion of your prospects and your big people who are inquiring with you are price obsessed and price focused, and you as a business are not price focused in terms of trying to be the cheapest and trying to offer the most value in terms of driving down the price that you're offering, then what that suggests to me is there is a disconnect in the pool in which you are fishing for your clients. And actually those people will make excellent clients for a business for whom they want to provide tremendous value, low cost options that get the job done there. But for someone like you, Mark, who's offering quality stuff, who's doing things properly, you want to be fishing in the pond of people who are looking for that. And so I'm a big fan of the analogy, you can't catch whales with minnow bait.
Oof. Goodness me, get you.
Yeah, get that on a t-shirt. That's right. Hey. A really big t-shirt and a really small t-shirt, just for the referencing there. But whales and little tiny minnows eat different food.
Yeah,
they're attracted to different things. And if you're finding yourself fishing for whales but just catching the little small fish, actually what that suggests to me is that the bait you're throwing out into the world is attracting the wrong type of clientele. Right?
So I wonder if Mark is a member of Entrepreneur Circle. Mark, if you are, then, and you want the proper answer to this conundrum, then you need to go into the EC vault, because in January of this year, so almost 12 months ago, I ran a 2-day event, and we spent 2 whole days. There was about 700 EC members there, and it's purely me teaching, but essentially we ran an event about how to market to money, how to actually position yourself in business and go out and get the customers for whom price is not, it's not even their third or fourth element. It's a long way down the list, because those customers do absolutely exist, Mark. And we spent 2 whole days going, and it's not, and just to be clear, there isn't a superficial, there's not like a little store, just do this, Mark, and all your customers will pay you whatever you want. This requires, there's quite a lot of deep thought into it, and we'll touch on some things now. We can talk about some elements of it, but the really smart thing to do for you, Mark, and actually great time to do it, because actually his garden maintenance, he will be shut down over Christmas. It's not going to be. He's not going to be out there doing a whole lot of work. He'll have a few days off. Will be a great opportunity, Mark, to get into the vault as part of your EC membership. And if you're not a member of EC, Mark, join, because actually it's free for the first month and you get access to everything. And go and find the Marketing to Money event from January 2025, and it will help you hugely. And I'm thinking of Mark. I'm thinking of, you know who I'm thinking of. You both know who I'm thinking of. Who am I thinking of?
Ooh, Skinny Legs Rob.
Yeah, Rob the gardener.
Yes.
So Mark, the guy that
Can I just preface Skinny Legs Rob? That's because Rob has a cameo in a certain TV show that will not be airing soon. And he's in the background of the scene, and he's wearing his little short shorts.
Yes.
With his little knobbly knees out. And so when I see him now, that's what I call him. Just context there.
Okay. Well, listen, we love Rob the gardener, and I met Rob the gardener. Rob the gardener came. I was on site when we bought our house, which is over 20 years ago now, and we basically kind of largely rebuilt the house. And the Rob came on site one day. I was there with the builders. And he came on site and introduced himself, and he told me he was setting up a garden maintenance business, and would I be interested? And he took the initiative. And long story, he ended up planting our entire garden, which is not an immodest plot.
No.
There was a lot of planting to be done, and he's looked after it ever since. And he comes every week, and he looks after our garden. And Rob's really interesting because he's the exact opposite of Mark, because Rob does no marketing. At all. And in fact, Rob was actually really pissed off some friends of mine.
Ooh.
And because
The drama.
yeah, well, because some friends of ours, I introduced them to Rob, and Rob goes and he basically cuts their grass for them, yeah, and keeps care of their lawns. But they've got quite a small, relatively speaking, garden, and the money they pay Rob is, comparatively speaking, with other clients, quite small, and so Rob has binned them off. So they've been binned up by the gardener and he's done it because he's got all the customers he needs. And this is going to be, at one level, potentially quite annoying for Mark, but I need to help you understand how Rob's made this happen. Okay, and it is quite interesting because we were. I was there right at the very start of his business, and he was, and we live on a road in Solihull. All the houses on our road are all of an appropriate kind of size, where the garden needs some maintenance and proper looking after, and just by going out there and reaching out to people, he got himself a few customers, and what we talk a lot about in that Marketing to Money event. Although again, I've got to be careful I don't do it too superficially here, Mark, but you see. People that have got money, people that are affluent, what they're looking for is their go-to guy. And what we want, certainly from me as a customer, and I pay Rob, I don't know what it is, I actually even don't even know what it is, but it'll be £700 a month, for sure, that I pay Rob. And but I know the price really isn't important to me, because he's just my go-to guy. I mean, I barely even talk to him or message him now, all the truth. Well, because it's been a long time, and he just knows what we want.
Are you sure he still comes to the garden?
He did all the Christmas decorations for us.
Yes.
All our external lights. I went on one day, and my garden's all festive.
Yeah.
And it was great because Rob had done all the lights, for instance. He looks after my pool, my swimming pool. Yeah. That's interesting because he became a gardener guy, and he tacked on the swimming pool stuff because.
Yes. Indicative that you're targeting the right level of clientele when you realise most of the gardens you're dealing with have pools.
And his customer base is the people. And what happens here, and this is important for Mark to understand, and this is why this will be both frustrating but also hugely enlightening, Mark, for you, is because people that have got money, affluent customers for whom price is a very small part of the buying decision, those people, we're looking for our go-to guy, and that's really, really important. So we don't respond to the same sorts of marketing and things. What we do, and like Rob does a lot of footballers, Premier League footballers, for instance. He does a lot of the guys Premier League footballers. Now, they're high-profile players. What do you think they're most concerned about? When they're looking for a gardener. it's not about the gardening. Okay, they're going to have to do the gardening, but they want someone that they're going to be able to trust, that's going to be discreet and way through. So the minute Rob gets in with one person, and actually it spreads. And like the number of Rob's customers that I know, because people have said to me, "Oh, who does your garden?" Because they moved to the big houses. I say, "Oh, you talk to Rob," and I pass the number out, and Rob does the garden. And how you get customers that have got money. So the whole thing, but you've got to get in. Now it's hard to get in to the kind of the enclave, the compound. It's hard to get in. I'm not pretending that it's easy, although if you're not even trying, then it's impossible. But once you are in, life's wonderful, and as demonstrated by literally Rob pissing off Sam and Dom, because actually I need to cut you off as a client, because actually, your 150 quid a month is actually you're too small for me.
And I think that it'll be really interesting, Mark, to have a look at, zoom out and have a look at your business from the outside in, and have a look at your website, at your Instagram page, your Facebook page, and the messaging that you're putting out into the world.
But Rob hasn't even got one, That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, because I think
he hasn't.
If you're marketing at the moment, you're going to check now, trying to find Rob the Gardener's website. But if your messaging is all around, actually discounts and offers and packages and things like that, then actually even that is attracting the wrong kind of people. And the people that you want, it'll be some tremendous homework. Go and look at the web presences and the social media, accounts of really high-end, providers of services or of products. Look at like Smallbone and their kitchens and things like that. Find brands and places who specialize in expensive stuff. That is attracting high-value clients, and then compare what's going on. And you'll be amazed, actually, because in most instances, business owners will be, complaining that all their customers are focused on price. But then we look at their website, for example, and so much of it talks about price.
Yeah.
And I think it's an interesting psychological shift that business owners have to make, that, we all have to go through, is that so many of us are brought up in the buying decision process and way of thinking as price conscious consumers and prospects are. Yeah. And so when we then have a business, we default to that. And actually, like you said, it's completely different. And actually, they don't care about the price. They want, what are the other things that they care about? Like,
just be careful. They do care about the price, but it's like the seventh thing on the list, and it's not. And as long as they're 6 or 6, they'll pay the price.
Yeah,
everyone's got a point, but that's, it's want to be very careful. It's not that they don't care about the price, but there are things that are more important.
The messaging, like for example, if you had your garden maintenance website, the messaging, rather than get your garden sorted for £99 a month, being the headline on the messaging there, which is price focused, actually even switching it so it was like, congrats, you just found your go-to garden maintenance guy. Even that, the subtle messaging shift will then attract the right people much better than the previous messaging there. So I think looking at that and what's going on there is crucial.
And so just to re-emphasize them, because you're absolutely right, and talking about things like Smallbone kitchens, I think going outside your market, but to establish brands that you want to see yourself alongside will be a very helpful thing to do. Although I can confirm, I don't believe Rob the gardener, who is so flipping busy, he's turning customers away, who is looking at, I don't really even got a website, and that itself is really insightful and instructive for Mark.
Well, let me tell you.
Delete your websites, everybody.
No websites.
Get rid of them.
Waste of time. No one needs a website. But in a business like this, right, there's a few businesses like this, right? Garden maintenance is one.
Yes.
Window cleaning is another.
Yes.
Right? Things like that, where actually the best way to get customers is to get into one and then get referred, to go to neighbors of people and talk to them.
That's the point.
Right? You'd be much better off investing your time and energy and money in some proper, shit hot, incredible, smart looking uniform.
Yes.
And actually apparel for yourself.
Yeah.
And getting your vehicle done nice and proper. So you look the absolute dog's butts
Yeah.
when you go up to these places.
Yeah.
Because that exudes
Yeah.
the kind of business and the kind of person that these people will want to do business with. And actually, rocking up, just knocking on their someone's house in a super crisp branded polo, maybe a little fun little cap that you take off, stood in front of like this nice branded van, will do more for you in terms of attracting that kind of person than your website would do.
100%. And one thing that I think is actually very difficult to do, which is a requirement to get to this stage in most cases, is that you have to say no to customers and you have to turn them away. Because it's all well and good complaining about people haggling you on price, but if you're still accepting them and doing the work, then you are going to find yourself in a perpetual cycle. And it is very tough because until you have been able to crack and actually get some high value customers on board, then it's very hard because you're turning away money. And if you don't have a hot stream of inbound inquiries coming in, that can feel very scary. But the price you pay for continually serving them is that you will remain in that cycle, because you need to be able to say no, and you need to be able to use that time, energy, and focus to go and pursue the high value ones.
But as you said at the beginning, Cameron, about the pond that Mark is fishing in, I think was the phrase you used. And I had a guy in Mastermind this year. His name's Ben. He has a roofing business, and he's based his yard and his office is in a less salubrious part of the West Midlands.
Less salubrious, you say?
Less salubrious.
Not as salubrious as we'd like.
And no, but what he'd like to do is repair roofs in
salubrious areas.
Smarter areas, probably the sort of areas where Rob the gardener is doing the gardens, for instance. So what we did with him is we helped him to create a really, it's a lot, I said it's a leaflet, it is a leaflet, but it's A3 folded. So it's actually 4 sides of A4, effectively, a front cover, big inside spread, and a back cover. And and we've done a lot of these over the years now. So we put this leaflet together for him, and he got these leaflets delivered and dropped on the streets and the roads. Literally, he was looking at the houses that he'd really want to work with. So he needs houses that are, of a certain age, that are of a certain size, and the roof jobs. And what's happened, and it's been transformational for Ben. So is the average spend on a job for Ben has the second half of this year compared to the first half of this year. Again, in round numbers, $2,500 roofing job first half of the year, $6,000 second half of the year. Okay, now his margins have gone through the roof. I mean, it's changed. It's been life changing for Ben, because he's gone and fished in the right pond.
There you go.
So, and he's done that through leafleting. And I think, and this is where actually the bit about websites and stuff, I think is slightly misleading for Mark, because I don't disagree with anything you guys have said, but the customers that Mark would really want, i.e. the affluent customers for whom money doesn't matter, the going online to Google and looking online for somebody is their route of last resort. What they're going to do is they're going to talk to people that they know, and again, we shouldn't underestimate good old-fashioned leafleting.
Well, let's just talk about leafleting then, because a lot of people, there'll be people listening who go, okay, great, I know the roads with nice houses, let me go and leaflet them. And what they'll do is they'll shove through the door a shitty little leaflet printed on the cheapest paper possible.
Keywords there being shitty and little.
Exactly. And that's not conducive to what we're trying to achieve here. But actually, people get leaflets through the door. Most of them go in the bin because most people don't put any thought and care into what they are. If we channel leafleting through this lens of attracting higher value customers, what's going to stand out, then what's going to get their attention, what would they respond to? Actually, spending a little bit more on leaflets that are, if your leaflet was actually larger size on thick, pearlescent paper, done nice, that is then going to...
Although with the situation, the example I gave you with Ben's leaflet, it absolutely was larger, and I made the point that he's got 4 A4 sides, whereas most leaflets are A5. So even both sides of A5, it's only a single side of A4. He's got 4 times as much space, so he can position himself properly. He can tell the story of the business, how it all started. He can talk about his values and what he believes in. He's got plenty of space for the stories and the testimonials and the case studies. He can reference people to all his reviews online. He can talk about what he's... And that starts to bring confidence to people who are in the right size properties. And what's happening for Ben, it's been transformational. And it's the leaflet. And you're absolutely right to pick up on it, because it's not just what you do, it's how you do it. Classic Bananarama syndrome.
I think a fun little exercise that you can do and play around with is like, what would you have to post through someone's door to make every single person respond to you, right? And the answer to that is something outrageous. You're going to be posting like, it's a massive gift box hamper with a video card inside that when they open it, like plays this thing and shoots like confetti out and whatever. Like, it's crazy. It's a massive thing that makes them pay attention. So, okay, what's a step removed from that? And take the thing that you know will guarantee responses from the people that you want, and go down that journey then to what you can actually reasonably both afford to do and have the time and energy to do, and meet in that middle, but come from that direction, not from shit in a A5 leaflet.
That's the key point, Mark. So that is the key point. The thinking process starts with, what if my life depended on, as you say, everybody responding, what would I do? Because it takes you to a different place, whereas most people start at the other end of the spectrum, which says, what do other garden owners companies do? Oh, they do leaflets, I'll put leaflets out.
Or how many leaflets can I get out for the least amount of money?
Yeah.
Which is why most people do leaflets wrong.
And it was another element in the Marketing to Money event where we've talked about showing up like nobody else. And that can be manifested itself in the leaflets, or in the vehicle, or in the uniform, or in the knobbly knees on the TV, which I feel sure will lead to cult success.
Goodness great.
For Rob.
But I like your point about saying no more often is so true. I think that there's a business, they're a member. Gosh, they do carpets. I can't remember his name, but they do carpets. They fit carpets out. And what they did, which I don't know if this will work for Mark or not, maybe not, but an interesting one, they actually created a whole other brand and business. And what they did was they basically created a low, like a value-based, cheap as chips, carpet business. And then they have a high-end, nice carpet.
Luxury carpets.
And what they do is both businesses effectively like refer the leads and prospects that come into the one to the other.
Okay.
And so when people inquire with the high-end nice carpet business, but then start questioning price, what they can do quite confidently is like, look, if this isn't right for you, that's fine. I think you should probably go with here's another carpet provider that we recommend people go to. They're much more affordable, but it's still owned by the same. It's a sister kind of company now, but they kind of filter them away. But it means that it just devalues the risk of like saying no particularly much. I'm not sure that's relevant for Mark particularly, given he's the garden maintenance guy. But there'll be someone listening whom will go, "Wow, Cameron, what a great idea! I'm going to splinter off a little cheapest chips version of my business, so I can refer myself the prospects and leads, and confidently say, oh no, we can't lower the price here. Maybe go and speak to these people, where then you can actually mop up the lower value people." Providing a more bare bones version of what you do. That was just someone out there is going to love that idea. Probably not Mark, though. Sorry, Mark. But when I got my garden spec'd out a few years ago, the thing I found interesting was there was one provider, they would like do more like the initial job rather than garden maintenance, but there was only one who charged for their initial site for their quote.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that is, I think, a really interesting little...
That was garden design as opposed to garden maintenance.
So a bit different. You see it in a lot of businesses, there's plenty of businesses out there who would love to charge to quote. Mm-hmm. Because actually, there's many business owners out there, many people listening, I'm sure, who actually filled with resentment when they go and quote for jobs. Yeah. And what happens is when you've been doing that for so long, and it's just another job. Oh, here we go, another quote. Oh, probably not going to get this one. Da da da. You bring that energy with you.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Like we've said in previous episodes, when you don't come to a job excited, when it's like, okay, oh God, quote this one, then da da da. Oh, maybe I'll get around to it on Tuesday or whatever. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you don't get the jobs. And so actually, when you're going for a more high-end clientele, then even if it's not. It doesn't need to be a significant amount. You're charging, hundreds of thousands. I think it was about 50. I think it was £50 that they charge, right, to come and have a look and spec it out and design it. And the whole deal was like you'd get you could keep the drawings that they did, and obviously then if you decide to go with them, they just discount that off the total. It's like a non-issue there. But actually, even that just positioned them. Like I was most looking forward to their site visit, like getting their quote, because suddenly I feel like they are superior to everyone else. Because I'm having to pay a little bit to get them to come and look at this garden. And they were ungodly expensive. Oh my God. It was crazy, right? But the design was like incredible, was the best one. So something to think about there is like actually, building in some sort of commitment for people when you're quoting as well.
So getting back on track with Mark then, because how does he start attracting customers who actually value the quality of what he does, rather than people who just want the cheapest option? Fundamentally, Mark, we're going to look at your entire marketing strategy and the pond in which you are fishing. And I cannot emphasize how useful you will find that marketing to money event. You can watch me at 1.5 speed as well, so you can rattle through it over the Christmas break. And I'm reminded, and I've just been struggling to remember the book it was from, but that this notion that if you have a large diamond, an uncut diamond, and you take it to the village peddlers and the village marketplace, you will have a really difficult job getting people to pay you, pence or a few pounds for it. But you take that same diamond to the diamond sector in the city, and they'll be falling out with each other to pay you the kind of market price for it. And that analogy, Mark, applies to you. Stop peddling your high quality, high caliber garden maintenance to the village peddlers that don't appreciate what you're doing. And you're in control of this, Mark. There's a big sign outside here in our breakout area that says it's all your fault. Wherever your business ends up is 100% your responsibility. And if you want customers, Mark, for whom price is not an issue, who will pay you to do the quality job that you are capable of and that you aspire to, it's your responsibility to go out there and get yourself in front of the right people. And hopefully that's come across in enough little elements and initiatives and interventions that would help you get there.
Too right.
Gosh. So...
Well, Merry Christmas, Mark. I hope that was helpful. And if you'd like a Christmas gift as good as Mark's there and want us to help you with a challenge or question that you have, then please ping us an email to podcast@entrepreneurscircle.org, and we'll be delighted to answer your magical scroll when it falls from the sky.
But we've got one more episode yet. The Christmas podcast.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve. That's going to be exciting, isn't it? I'll wear my Christmas shirt.
Joy to the world, Christmas is here.
Okay, we'll see you for that episode 1 week from now on Wednesday the 24th.
Who'd have thought it?
Thanks for being with us today. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.